This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social, delighted to be joined for the first time ever by broadcast legend Michael Buffer. We're here at the Alexander Usyk-Tony Bellew final press conference. How are you, Michael?
I'm fine, thanks.
So, what can you tell me about this fight? You've seen a few fights in your time. Talk to me about this one.
You know, this fight is very compelling for many different reasons. Ukraine, over the last 15 years with two heavyweight champions in Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko. You have Lomachenko now, considered by many to be pound for pound the best fighter in the world. And you have his fellow countryman, Alexander Usyk, also considered by many to be pound for pound the best fighter in the world. Usyk is the undisputed, undefeated, former Olympic gold medal champion that has to be considered, without a doubt, the favorite in this fight. And he's fighting a 35-year-old Anthony Usyk-Bellew, who was announced that this will be his final fight, going to walk off into the sunset, who over the last couple of years has always been the underdog and has prevailed as the winner, the victor. And so being an underdog and being considered a guy that's not going to win the fight is nothing new to him. And he just brings out emotion, he brings out passion in boxing fans. And I find that very compelling. Then you add to that one of the best venues in the world with this arena here in Manchester. I mean, I've been coming here for over 20 years and announcing main events. And this is just going to be one of the most passionate, electric nights ever. The ring walks alone are going to have people, chilled to the bone. So a very exciting night. And, people ask me, who do you think is going to win? My head tells me one thing, my heart tells me another. And officially, I'm not going to answer the question.
Well, you beat me to it, so I won't ask the question. You mentioned the atmosphere, Manchester Arena. It's going to be a real bear pit in there, expecting close to, if not a full capacity crowd. Alexander Usyk, though, however, doesn't strike me as somebody who's going to be. He's not a shrinking violet. He seems to relish the opportunity of fighting in his opponent's backyards. Do you think that that's the case ahead of this Saturday?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Usyk has ice water in his veins. He is as calm and cool as can be. He's focused. He's fit. He's an outstanding fighter. He's the type of guy that if you have a daughter, you'd be glad if she brought this guy home for dinner. He has everything you like in a person and in a fighter, no doubt about it. And there's going to be quite a few. We had Donetsk playing in a football game here in Manchester last night. And quite a few of those Ukrainian fans are going to hang around and waving. They'll be waving those flags in the arena last night. They already have their tickets. So they're going to be, kind of well represented. They're not going to be outshouted by, or they're not going to be shouting down the UK fans for sure. But there's going to be a few there, and it's going to be a great night.
Now, Eddie Hearn has made reference to the fact that this is the biggest and best fight he's ever promoted for Matchroom. You're somebody who's seen, as I say, your fair share of fights. Where would this rank for fights that you've seen, certainly on the UK shores?
When you think about that, from Eddie, that is really quite a statement. I mean, he's been part of these huge fights in Wembley and everything, and over the years. So for him to say that, I think that comes from the heart and having a relationship with Tony Bellew, who's at this point, more than just a fighter under his promotional banner. He's a friend and a friend of his family, and there's always emotion there. But he has a point. And I concur, being a part of it, that this is a goosebump type of promotion. It just has all the elements of a Hollywood script, and I can't emphasize enough that it's going to be electric.
Now, I hate to keep harping on about it, but you have done this for an awful long time. You're seemingly ageless in the sense of you're always around. We always see you at these events. I'm very happy to see you on the UK shores a lot more now. What is it about kind of being Michael Buffer that still excites you? What is it about kind of your job that keeps you going and keeps you at all of these major events?
That's really easy to answer. Events like this, while I'm an MC Saturday night, I'm still a fan. I'm a fan when I flew in. I'm a fan right here talking to you, and I'll be a fan before, during, and after that fight. And I've had many moments where I've seen fighters that I've known many years, and they're at an age where, to me, they're like almost like nephews or sons to me, and you love them, you hate to see them lose, you're happy when they win. So it's always emotional, and that's kind of like what really keeps me going, is having a relationship as a fan, and personal relationships that I have with even the promoter and the people in broadcasting and all that. So we love to get together and have these moments, and then we enjoy a great fight. So that's what keeps me going.
So that was an easy question to answer. This is going to be a lot more difficult. If you could pick one event over the course of your career that stands out for atmosphere, for fight, whatever it may be, what one event sticks out in your career and why?
I guess, if I sat down and didn't have the 10 seconds I have right now to answer you, I could think of other ones. But right now, because it's still, within a few years, that night at Wembley when AJ fought Vladimir Klitschko in front of 90,000 fans, AJ's ring walk, my relationship for over a decade with the Klitschko brothers, and all that emotion and everything, to me, the reaction of the fans and the great fight that it was, probably one of the best heavyweight fights in a decade. Right now, that stands out as probably the biggest promotional night and most exciting fight in recent memory for me. I can go back and remember great nights that Roberto Duran somehow pulled a comeback and won one of his many titles, or a Mike Tyson victory, or an upset here and there. George Foreman beating Michael Moorer at the age of 40 plus to become heavyweight champion after losing every round, winning by knockout. There are great moments, there are great events, there are great fights. But right now, I would say 90,000 at Wembley a couple years ago with AJ and Vladimir. That was a pretty big night.
Yes, it was. Well, Michael Buffer, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Real pleasure to interview you for the first time. I do hope it's not the last. Thanks very much, and I will see you soon.
My pleasure. We'll do it again.